Whether you've tried your hand at gravel riding or not, gravel is taking the world by storm. Seemingly, there are events popping up all over the world. So, what are the basics?
Well, in this video, we are going to show you some tips from before you leave your front door to when you're out having fun on the bike. And hey, with Jeremy here too, I'm hoping to learn a thing or two myself.
So first off, you need to know what you're getting yourself into. Research, map, and be prepared, okay? 50 miles of riding on the road is a lot different than 50 miles of riding on gravel because gravel goes a lot slower. You may be out in the middle of the boondocks, who knows? You need to make sure that you know where your food, where your water is, and where you're gonna take rest. Unlike being in the UK, for a tea stop every 4 miles, you need to be prepared. So with the internet and all of its resources, route mapping is made so much easier. With Komoot, we're able to plan our ride, check road surfaces, and plan distance really easily so that we're 100% ready for our adventure.
You should always check the weather forecast before you ride, but it's even more important on gravel for two reasons. Firstly, if you're going into the middle of nowhere, you need to be more self-reliant. So that might mean taking extra layers in the case of bad weather, or more water if the weather is super hot, because you've got to stay hydrated. But then secondly, there's also the issue of road conditions, because in the wet, gravel can become soft, muddy, even unrideable, which means that your gravel epic might actually become impossible, leaving you with no phone signal, wishing for a 4x4 Uber, or worse, busting out the hatchet and matches.
Or your chainsaw and bear spray. This ain't the UK side, this is America. So when you're riding gravel, you always want to keep space between your riding partners so that you're able to see any holes or potholes that are in the dirt, any big rocks or stones that are out of place that could be in your way that you could flat or crash out on. Which brings us to our next point. We know the benefits of riding on roads like this, catching a draft from 100 years of Tour de France racing, but you really have to ask yourself, if you're riding on gravel, does it make any sense to be so close? With all these tree-lined roads that are cutting down on all of the wind, I don't think it really makes a big difference.
Yeah, plus your speed is lower on gravel, so that also reduces the benefit of drafting. But ultimately, it kind of comes down to the question, how much time are you actually going to save from drafting versus how much time you're going to lose from changing a flat, or worse, picking yourself up out of the dirt.
Because of all of the preparedness that we have talked about, it's super important that you get a good pair of cages that can really hold your bottle tightly, so if you do hit an unexpected pothole, that you don't send your bottle flying.
Bottle cages are just the tip of the iceberg. We could talk for days about gravel bike setup, but one other basic but yet important point is tyre choice. If they will fit, my personal recommendation is a 40mm wide gravel tyre. Now, it's not so fat that it's going to feel sluggish or be heavy, but that extra volume over a narrower tyre means that you just have to be much less careful. It's much harder to puncture, gives you a lot more control, and it's also much more comfortable as well. Truthfully, I don't think there's much that you can't do on a 40mm wide gravel tyre.
In a similar theme, hold back on the descents. The best way to flat a tire is to be going hog wild at 50 miles an hour down a gravel descent. You'll flat at the bottom and everyone will be waiting for you, which is a huge party foul.
Sorry, mate. I'm sorry.
Dude, you have to control your speed and you're breaking through. Seriously, what came over you?
I don't know. Could have been the Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know.
It's definitely the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Dude, speed, you have to be in control of the speed. It's the rocks and the speed combined that get a flat every time.
That is true. And in all seriousness, we're not trying to kill the fun of gravel riding here. But if you just hold back a fraction, you can conserve your bike and also your body, and that is going to make your ride a better ride.
All right, so hopefully you've got your gravel rig all set up, you're ready for a big adventure, and some of the tips and tricks that we ripped through today are gonna help you to have a perfect day out there. Don't forget to bring your bear spray and your chainsaw.
Yeah, a load more gravel how-to videos will be coming up on GCN very soon. In the meantime, if you want to see an epic gravel ride, then you can click through to video on screen now.